Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man who wasn't going to drink today, but then his wife asked him to grill something. It's Dale.
Ooh, yeah, that's a definite.
Yeah, you're definitely drinking when you're grilling.
Yeah, well, I have to.
Yeah.
You have to have more beer than you do charcoal.
Yeah, you're not the one that sets your beer on the grill, are you, and takes a picture of it, are you?
Nah,
Okay.
It'd be hot if you do that.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people do that.
No, that's a way before if you can do that.
What's going on today, dude?
You know, same old, man.
Rocking and rolling, doing an episode.
Ready to get her done, man.
Yeah, we got a good one today.
Ooh,
You got any good shout-outs or anybody you want to talk about?
Hey, look at there.
Dale's got the clap.
It's good to get the clap. It's better when it goes away. Here we go. We have a brand new Apple Podcast 5-star review all the way from Australia. And I was going to read it with the Australian accent, but I've chickened out.
Oh, you got to do it, man. You got to do it, Mike.
It says, hi, I'm Abby. And this is a 5-star rating.
Hello, Abby.
Yes. Listening from Sydney, Australia, I find the podcast pleasant. I like the down-to-earth conversational vibe while still respecting the victims and the serious nature of the cases covered.
Man.
Wow, how's that?
That's awesome.
That sounds professional and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks so much, Ab. We appreciate you doing that. Thanks for taking your valuable time to drop us a little note there.
That is Abby from Sydney, Australia.
Very cool, very cool.
If anybody else wants to be like Abby, you can go to Apple Podcast and click that 5-star and write something in the box, and we'll get a notification, and you'll get a shout-out.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of, how about these? We got a couple comments the other day I thought was pretty cool.
Let on.
Yeah, this is Janet Scott Sluter, I'm assuming. This is a Facebook comment. Anyways,
Yeah.
I've recently gotten addicted to Crack House Chronicles. It's like crack for real. Started at the beginning, and I'm going back and listening to them all.
Wow.
How about that? That's pretty cool. And then right underneath that, this one we got was the top fan badge. How about this? Christopher Samantha Davis, right?
Yeah.
Best true crime podcast ever.
Ever.
Other than cleaning and Christian podcasts, this is all I listen to. Thank you for keeping it interesting, real, factual, and respectful.
Man, you go from one spectrum to another. You go from Christian to Crack House Chronicles. I mean, you just...
Well, they put some cleaning in between.
Yeah, okay.
So, they have to clean a little bit, and then they can go
Yeah.
back. It's like jumping to this side and that side.
Yeah, Magic Eraser, Mr. Clean, Magic Eraser, and you just go listen to Crack House Chronicles. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then you got to go get cleaned after that.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks a lot, you guys, for jumping on there and posting on the Facebook pages and stuff. It's really cool. We enjoy that, and we try to interact as much as we can. We'll give you a thumbs up or something, even if we don't have time to do a full. A lot of times, I got to go back and reply to that because that was really cool, and then next thing you know, I hadn't done it, and then I feel bad. So then I'm thinking it's too late to do it. Feels like way too late.
I know.
Anyway, but we do appreciate it more.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody goes on there and writes something in comments and likes. And we appreciate it a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's cool. We like interacting.
We really do.
We do it way too much.
Yep. All right, Dale, before we get into this episode, we're going to take a short break, and then we come back. We got a crazy story, man.
Let's do it.
All right, bud, we are back.
We're back.
And like I said, we got a crazy story. And this is a North Carolina case.
This one's way too close to home, really.
It is, man. And this is probably...
I didn't even know about it. No, I'm just mad.
Dale's pissed off again. But this is one of the most horrific stories we've done in a while.
How do we not know this?
I don't know. Well, we're going to get into why we probably don't know much about it.
It wasn't called Ronald Reagan, that's for sure.
No. This is a whole different thing that happened that sort of pushed it to the side. But this is very recent. But this is the murder of Mary Collins.
Yes.
From Charlotte, North Carolina.
Just right down the road.
Man, yeah. But a little bit of background on Mary Collins. Dale, she was born Mary Santina Collins on July the 6th, 2000, to her mom, Casey Del Pezzo.
Already?
And her mom was 20 years old at the time Mary was born. And everyone who talked about Mary described her as kind and gracious. And her elementary school principal, her name was Caroline Horn, she even described Mary as innocent and said she always wanted to hug her in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And people used words about Mary like sweet, but also vulnerable to define Mary.
It was hard to do. Even her grandmother said, it's kind of like trying to describe music or art. She was that unique of a person.
Very unique, man.
Right.
Yeah.
A very beautiful creature, if you will.
And Mary's aunt, her name was Cara Williams, and she even said about Mary that she had such a light about her. She was loving and silly. Now, Mary's grandmother, her name was Mia Alderman.
Or is.
Yeah. And she raised Mary like her own child.
Mm-hmm.
She gave her a stable environment for which to thrive because her mom, she just couldn't provide for her.
Right.
I don't know the whole background behind that, but her mom was involved in her life.
Right.
But Mary had a very large family, a lot of aunts, cousins, and even some siblings. And all these people, they protected and loved Mary. And Mary was such a sweet person. She was even described that she expected everyone to be like that. She was very vulnerable and very easily manipulated.
Right. Well, when you see the good in everybody, you know, people will take advantage.
Yeah. But when Mary was 3 years old, she was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, and it was called DeGeorge syndrome. And it's also known as 22q deletion syndrome. Now, I looked this up, and it's a syndrome caused by a microdeletion in the long arm of chromosome 22.
Mm-hmm.
And while these symptoms can vary, they often include congenital heart problems, specific facial features, frequent infections. There was some developmental disability and even intellectual disability, and oftentimes a cleft palate.
Yeah, or internal cleft palate.
Yeah, so
it's like a velocardiofacial syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you know, and her grandmother said, you know, it does stuff like you said, like disabilities and skeletal abnormalities and stuff like that, heart, you know, other stuff. But there's like 184 different variations of stuff. Not that she had all these, but the people with this syndrome can have that many different things.
Yeah, but this syndrome, it's like second most common to Down syndrome.
Yes.
It is. But she was diagnosed with having it at 3 years old.
Yeah, and her grandmother knew, she said, right after about 3 months old, that she could tell something was going on, but she just didn't know what.
Well, even at birth,
well,
even feeding her,
yeah,
she couldn't lay down and like take a bottle or something. She had to be sitting up.
Right, to keep it down.
Yeah.
Right.
But they took her and had her diagnosed for that.
And I think her grandmother was really after this because she noticed she was missing a few milestones in here and in there, you know, and then she would eventually get them, but it was just taking a lot longer. So she knew something was up, but she never could get anybody to understand what she's trying to tell them, but they finally figured it out.
Yep. And Mary was also born with a severe cleft palate and didn't even speak until she was 6 years old.
Right.
And her speech was very difficult to understand. Only her family could really make out what she was saying.
Yeah.
But she did have her own language that she was learning to talk, you know, and where people could understand her.
Right. When she finally did get to where she could speak, but still had a severe impediment. But
yeah, she did.
Yeah, she worked hard on that. She was very proud of what she had accomplished.
But she did have surgery to fix this cleft palate. And Mary, she loved cooking, and she loved listening to music, and she loved Kurt Cobain and the Pretty Reckless, and even some Elvis. Yeah. And she loved all types of music.
Yeah, she could play guitar too, I believe.
Yeah. She even loved doing photo shoots that captured her extraordinary beauty.
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you, there's some pictures of Mary out there. Man, she's a gorgeous girl.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, in my mind, she could have been a model.
Yeah, and they said a lot of the stuff, with, you know, when you said photo shoots, it's kind of her own thing, or her and her sisters, or her and her friends and stuff, and then she didn't share a lot of it because she was really shy about it stuff, but man, she did a great job.
Yeah, she would watch YouTube videos on how to do makeup and things and fix her hair, and she had these real structured facial features, these facial bones that accented her looks and her beauty.
Yeah, and she liked to do her hair, and then she always had a thing with wigs and different colors, and she was always having a big time. Yeah,
and I think she's kind of into goth a little bit too.
Yeah.
Had that look about her. But very beautiful girl. Can't say it enough.
Yep.
So in high school, it was a fairly good experience for Mary. She hung out with a small group of girls and was not overly picked on. And she went on she went out with a couple of boys, but they were just normal teen relationships and, you know, just short, I guess, boyfriends that didn't last long. Little relationships didn't last long.
Just to get to know kind of things.
Yeah.
I think.
But there was one boy, his name was Lavi Pham, Lavi, last name Pham, Lavi Pham, or Lavi Pham. I think it's Lavi Pham.
Okay.
But these two, they did everyday adolescence things, like listen to music. They would go eat sushi, which was Mary's favorite food, and she loved spending time with family. That's what they did. They'd go to, each other's house, and they'd just hang out with their family.
Right.
But this relationship didn't last long. But there were no hard feelings after the breakup. Mary and Lavy, they continued their friendship. You know, just they would see each other occasionally and sometimes hang out.
Right.
But there was no, I guess, no romantic feelings.
Well, I think they were getting along well. I just don't think Mary was ready for the physical part of this relationship, and I'm sure he was thinking different things.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, yes. After studying this case, and we'll get into that, I think that was part of it. But after high school, Mary's friends list, it got a little bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
People were going off to college and getting jobs and going into adulthood.
Right.
But you know, Mary was 20 years old, but still had the mindset of a 14 or 15-year-old.
Right.
And she just wasn't ready for life changes.
No.
I guess from her disability, she just wasn't ready for that stuff.
She's getting there, but, you know, taking her time.
Yeah, she's doing it at her own pace.
Right.
But with Mary's entire family, they were very protective of her when there was a young lady that put a target on Mary's back. And this young lady, her name was Kelly Lavery.
Lavery.
Kelly Lavery, yeah. And she began bullying Mary on social media. Kelly would post comments on some of Mary's stuff, or pictures and stuff like,
pretty vile too.
Yeah, nobody would want you. If I were you, I just want to disappear as soon as possible. And some comments would even say, you're a dumb bitch.
Yeah, she would post a picture and then this girl would crack this kind of stuff on it.
Yeah. And Kelly, she would verbally abuse Mary and then apologize and pretend to be friends with her.
I think she's just playing Mary because she knew how she was.
I think so too.
She would just say, okay, and forgive her, you know, because she's that kind of person.
Yeah. And
she thought the girl was being sincere, you know, just not really just poking at her. Right?
Yeah, just
it's ridiculous.
She apologized, so we're all good.
Yeah.
But Kelly, she began living with Mary's former boyfriend, Lavy. They hooked up and they were starting to live together. But Kelly, she continued manipulating Mary's feelings. And Lavy even participated in this deal.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of him either.
No, Mary's family could see all of Mary's social media activity.
Right.
And they believed that Kelly had some kind of severe mental health issues.
Yeah, because the way she was doing her, and then take it all back and then do it again and take it all back.
Flip-flop on her, yeah.
Exactly.
And they tried to caution Mary and tell her that Kelly wasn't a friend to her at all.
No, and there was even times where she would post a picture and this girl would say something like, yikes, ooh, and then the Lavy would go, ooh, post right underneath it. So they were like tag teaming her or whatever.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
You know, but Mary, she was already insecure about her speech disorder and even having to wear glasses.
Right.
She was very conscious of that stuff. And the last thing her family wanted to see was her suffer at the hands of this Kelly Lavery.
Yeah, catching hell about something else.
Yeah. But who is this Kelly Lavery girl? Let's talk about her just a minute. Now, Kelly Lavery, she was born to Patrick and Karen Lavery, and they lived a really privileged life. Kelly's father, he is a chief enterprise architect.
He was making some funds.
Yes, he is. And her daddy gave her anything she wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was glad to tell you that.
Oh, yeah. She didn't hold it back at all.
She was better than everybody.
Yeah. Kelly grew up in $1 million home. This was at 1047 Roland Park Lane in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And she was known to harass other girls, too.
Yeah.
And Mary was no exception.
Right.
And she would even send Mary text and things, or even comment on stuff and say, I'm not jealous. You're really stupid. She'd even said, I graduated with a 4.0 in honors, so I don't think so. I'm living rent-free, bills-free. My entire life is handed to me on a diamond-encrusted platter, so I don't think so, sweetie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Even though I'm 24, I'm still backing. I'm holding up this 4.0 over here.
I know.
What the hell?
And Mary would even ask Kelly why she was so mean to her. And Kelly would reply. She'd say, see, you want to know why it doesn't matter. My parents are millionaires. I get to have a bad personality. Are your parents private jet rich, Tesla rich, designer shit rich? Does your daddy make $700,000 annually? I can treat people however I want.
There you go.
Yep.
Pitiful.
Yeah, she was a spoiled little brat, no doubt about it.
Very much so. Better daddy's proud.
Yeah. So we're moving up to March the 28th of 2020.
Okay.
Now, do you remember what was going on at this time?
That'd be that nasty pandemic coming rolling in.
Yeah. This is why I think we don't hear much about this story.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because this is like the day or two after the lockdown was declared here in North Carolina.
Yeah, Governor Roy Cooper shut the state down for a week.
Yeah.
But the
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The date is March 28th of 2020, and this is when Mary left her home. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon. This Kelly Lavery, she had texted Mary and told her that she was going to have an Uber sent to her grandmother's house to pick her up.
Yeah.
And they were going to bring her to her upscale apartment. It's in Noda. It's in the North Davidson area of Charlotte. And they had an apartment there called the Yards.
Right.
Very upscale apartment complex.
Well, that whole little place there is kind of cool. It's like a little artist district.
Yeah.
You know, neighborhood theaters there and a lot of other little places. So it's kind of a cool little place.
Yeah.
But she had told her that she wanted her to come over and they was going to have like a girls' night and just do a movie marathon and hang out and stuff.
Watch some horror movies.
Watch some horror movies. That's what she wanted to do. And so, you know, Mary, you know, had been locked up in the house for this little bit of time and was ready to get out and do something. This is, you know, it was still, the pandemic was on us, but it hadn't been the full lockdown. Still this coming up to this point.
Yeah.
But she was, you know, stir crazy, I'm sure. So when she got the chance to go somewhere, she was going to go.
But knowing Mary's problems with Kelly, Mary's grandmother and family, they were adamant that she stay at home, man.
Yeah, she was not liking this at all.
But they were wanting to encourage her independence, and they gave in.
Well, she even went out and told the Uber driver, don't take her.
She did.
Yeah, and he looked at her, and in the way I've heard it every time with a kind of a attitude, said, she's grown, I'm taking her. Well, I guess, you know, because if you look at Mary, you can't tell nothing's wrong. It's like an invisible disability.
It is.
If you don't know her, and you just, I mean, she looks like a regular 20-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, well, she's grown, I'm taking her.
Yeah, so she went.
Right, so she went. Now, you know, Mary's grandmother also, they have you know, like you said, they follow all her stuff, her socials, her money, and even have a thing on her phone they can follow, I guess something like Life 360 or something.
Probably,
I'm not sure what it is. But
they can keep track of her.
Something like that, yeah. So, you know, she's got a lot of backups because she knew that, you know, Mary would have problems, you know, finding her way around because she wasn't very good with that stuff. She would get lost in her own neighborhood and
Mary
stuff.
couldn't even drive.
Right, she didn't drive, and she would even get lost walk around the neighborhood. So that's why when phones came with the GPS and all that stuff, it really helped her just even walk around. You know, she would get disoriented.
Yeah,
forget where she was, stuff. So anyway,
but Mary went to Kelly's apartment.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mary's grandmother Mia, she didn't hear from Mary after texting her several times.
Right. And
got worried.
But she knew she was there.
Yeah.
Because she knew she had made it there by keeping up with, like what we just said.
Yep. The following day, this was March 29th, Mary's grandmother Mia, she tracked Mary's phone to Kelly and Labby's apartment, and she went there.
Right. Yeah, she never getting those answers, you know, so she's like, screw this, I'm going to go pick her up.
She went.
Because they hadn't talked about anything about staying all night.
I know.
Yeah, so she's like, I ain't heard from her all night. First she was, you know, getting worried. And then she's like just playing it up to where, you know, well, maybe she's just having a good time and she's just forgot to check her phone. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even her phone had died. So she gave it, you know, the benefit of a doubt for a while, but the next morning she's done with that.
Well, you know, before this, she'd actually checked some social medias and she saw Labby had posted a video on Twitter of them in the lobby of the apartment complex where they had ordered sushi and had it delivered.
Right.
And they were all down there in the lobby. So she saw Mary
all
there
three
with
hanging
them,
out, walking
and
around.
Mary was smiling, having a good time, so she didn't worry too much.
So she let it ease off a little bit. Yeah.
And she was just actually staying at home cleaning the house.
Keep her mind off of it.
Yeah, and I guess too because of the pandemic, you know, Mary would be coming home and wanting everything clean, you know.
Because she knew she was going to have to quarantine her again.
Yeah.
Being out, she's out in public, so she's going to come back and they'll make sure everything's sterile.
That's right.
That's air quote sterile.
Yeah.
For a place for her to stay.
Yeah, but this March 29th, you know, she showed up at Kelly's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And she knocked on the door and got no answer.
Well, she even had to go through all the stuff because it being a gated community or a gated place, she had to get through the gates. So she'd had to wait for somebody to come and let her in. And then it was like it'd go in the building and had to go through another one and wait for somebody else. So she was really intent on getting there, but she made sure she got to the door.
She did. And she knocked on the door and got no answer.
Yeah. Well, she said she could tell if somebody was in there. She could hear.
Yeah.
And she was beating on the door, hollering for Mary. Nobody had ever come to the door.
And that's when she began yelling.
Yes.
And she was yelling, I guess I'll have to call 911.
Right.
That's when Kelly answered the door.
Mm-hmm.
And she told Mary's grandmother that Mary had already left.
Yeah.
And she asked to look around the apartment.
Because, yeah, Mia said that in an interview, she said, when she told me she had already left and somebody else, I knew right then she was lying. Because everything she was saying, I knew was not true.
Yeah, because she tracked her phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
But Kelly, she hesitated but agreed and let her in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But she wouldn't let Mia into the master bedroom.
No.
She told her that there were some friends in there and accused Mia of alarming them, waking them up or something.
Right, freaking them out maybe.
Maybe. And that's
Some crazy woman's out here beating on the door.
Yeah, and that's when Mia begged Kelly to tell her where Mary was.
Yeah.
And Kelly responded, I couldn't give a fuck about Mary.
Man, this girl.
Oh, yeah, that's their...
That's a quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's their words, not ours.
Yes.
And this when Mia got to crying, she asked Lavy.
Yeah. Ask if Lavy was in there.
Yeah, if he was in the master bedroom. And Kelly reluctantly went to and got him. And Lavy came out, and Mia began asking him where Mary was. But Kelly was in complete control of this situation, dude.
Yeah, she stood between them.
Yeah.
While they were talking.
Lavy behind her.
Yes.
And he wouldn't let Lavy even answer a question.
Mm-mm.
And it was then that Mia saw Kelly holding a hammer in her hand.
What the hell, man?
Yeah. And Mia looked at Kelly and said, you can't hit me hard enough with that hammer to make me forget about Mary. Man.
Grandma's serious.
Oh, yeah. This grandma, I can't say enough about her.
I'd love to talk to her.
Oh, yeah. And Kelly, she began talking kindly about Mary and saying that she would
It's like she flipped a switch and went back to apologetic.
Yeah.
You know.
Flip-flop. Well,
You're right.
Yes, and she said, I'll help find her.
Yeah.
And that's when Mia left and searched the complete complex in the neighborhood. She was looking everywhere around this apartment complex for her. And Mia filed a missing persons report with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department at 11 p.m. on March the 31st. And she told the investigators that Mary had a cognitive disability, but she didn't feel the police department took it seriously.
Right.
And Mary's mother, Casey, she started making flyers and posting them all around town.
Yes.
And initially, the police went to Kelly's apartment. When they got no answer, they left.
And I'm going to go ahead and say, when we say flyers, that's what we mean, flyers. Because my wife be going, what are you talking about? We're talking about the little pieces of paper you hang on the wall like a morning poster.
Flyer.
Yeah, not a daffodil.
Yeah, not flyers.
Yeah.
Not flowers.
My wife, who's from Wisconsin, always goes, what the hell are you saying?
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear there.
Yeah, flyers.
Yes.
But Mary's grandmother, Mia, she wasn't satisfied, man, that the authorities had not yet talked to anyone in that apartment. So she decided to go back. And she called the apartment manager, who agreed to look at the surveillance footage later that day.
Right. And so far, the police department ain't done nothing. Now, we got to remember, it's also during this COVID thing, so.
Everybody's on high alert.
And he's trying to tell him he can do it from his office.
Yeah. This is when Detective Jonathan Gaskin comes into play, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. And he told Mary's grandmother, Mia, that he could not go back to the apartment that day, but recommended that Mia call 911 again to request the department to go out if she felt Mary's life was in danger.
Right. Well, the reason he said that is when something we left out, when they were getting into it before her and Kelly at the apartment, you know, and she was outside yelling. One of the neighbors had came out and said, what's going on here? And she told her, I need Mary. And she goes, well, I'm going to call somebody. She said, yeah, please do. So they called the police, and he did come out and look. This is why he's saying he could not go back, but you're welcome. And because the detective, I don't think, ever came out, did he?
No.
Right. So then he just told her to call 911 again if you felt you need something.
Yeah.
Which is pathetic.
Yeah, and this Detective Gaskin said he could work the case remotely.
Yeah.
And that going to the apartment was unnecessary.
Right.
This Detective Gaskin, I'm not a fan.
No.
But this would be the first of many disappointments for Mary's grandmother, Mia. And Mia informed Gaskin that the manager had surveillance footage, and he replied, that's good. And the detective, he didn't go to view the footage, man.
Yeah, I'm glad he's got some. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell, dude?
Yeah. So Mia decided she wasn't getting anywhere with Gaskin, so she called 911 again. And Mary's mother met Mia at the apartment, and they waited for the police to get there.
Yeah.
And when the officer arrived, he knocked on the door, and Lavy answered, but refused the officer to come in.
Right.
Instead, Lavy let Mary's mom, Casey, go in. And this time, he let Casey into the back master bedroom, and she saw something or someone on the bed, asleep. Looked like they were asleep.
Yeah, with a blanket over.
But Livy told her it was Kelly.
Right.
And Casey left without any closure or anything, or finding Mary at all.
Yeah, he ain't getting close to nothing.
No. But the responding officer, he called the office manager and told him to stop looking at the surveillance footage.
Which is stupid.
Yeah. And he inaccurately told the manager he needed to obtain a warrant to view the tape.
So he called the manager and told him to quit looking at his own surveillance footage.
Yeah.
He needs a warrant.
He
don't need a warrant to look at his own footage.
No, which ain't correct at all.
I mean, in the whole town, they even went and, I'm talking about Casey and Mia had even talked to them, and they even had talked to corporate over this, and they all had given them the green light to do this.
Yeah, the corporate over the apartment complex.
Yeah, gave them the green light. They didn't, no warrant necessary. Have at it.
You can look at all the surveillance.
They done everything they could do to help.
Yes.
Yes.
But get this, Dale. By the time police wanted to view the footage, it had been deleted because it rolls over every month.
Yeah, at the end of the month, they delete it for the next month.
Yeah.
If they'd have been there an hour earlier,
they'd have had it.
They'd have got to see it.
If it had been anything on it.
Well, they could see her go in anyway.
Very true, yeah.
Crazy, the same footage we saw. Well, kind of, like was on the Twitter or whatever. So definitely could have seen footage of them there.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
But Mary's family, they were just alone and frustrated. So they organized some search parties.
Well, so far they've done everything themselves.
Yeah, they conducted their own social media investigation and questioned anyone who would speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
They even took shifts outside Kelly's apartment to ensure no one brought anything out.
Yeah, they were sleeping in the parking lot.
Yeah, watching.
Or staying in the parking lot. I don't know about how much sleeping they were doing.
Because
they want to make sure, because her grandmother just knew she could feel it, that she was there.
Yes, she had this feeling.
Yeah, it was killing her.
And during the family's investigation of social media, they saw a picture posted of Livy and another unidentified man who had a knife in his hand. And they discovered it was a guy by the name of James Salerno, who went by Jimmy.
Right.
And he had been at the apartment at the same time as Mary.
Wow, now.
Yeah. Isn't that coincidence?
It's a coincidental.
But the family continued to search using bloodhounds and drones for any sign of Mary. And
well, she brought in her own bloodhounds, but by the time the police got around to signing off on it, it was too late.
Yeah.
They didn't even get to use them.
True.
She hired them herself. But the detective had to, the bloodhound handler said the detective had to sign off on it before he could do anything, or she, whichever it was. And so they didn't even get to use that.
Yep.
Another damn drop of the ball.
Yeah. Now, 7 days passed before the Mecklenburg-Charlotte Police Department would begin looking seriously into Mary's case.
7 days.
7 days, a whole week.
Whole week.
And a former homicide detective called the department to inquire about Mary's case and was told they had received an anonymous tip that Mary had gone missing before.
And this is why they treated the case with such a low priority.
Yeah.
So I wonder who made this anonymous call. It was all lies. It said that she'd been, run off before, and she'd go running off with guys and do this and do that, and it was all made up crap.
Yeah. Mia, Mary's grandmother, knew none of this was true because she could barely get around on her own.
Right.
Like you said, she'd get lost in the neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
And when they tried to tell her to leave, she knew she didn't. She would get lost, and plus she didn't have her glasses, so she wouldn't. Dang,
I'd like to know who made this anonymous call. Yeah.
This is why these places are close. I just want to go drive down the road here.
Yeah.
Ask somebody some questions.
So we're moving up to April the 2nd of 2020, and this is when the police department received a tip from a witness that said James Salerno, Livy Pham, Kelly Lowry had a party at that apartment where Livy and Kelly, they had tied Mary up and beat her in the bathtub. This is the
tip they got. Yeah. Okay.
And the witness tells police that Jimmy was bragging about hiding her body in a mattress and how they planned to burn it with Mary's body stuffed inside. Yeah. Now, missing persons detectives, they visited the apartment of Kelly and Livy on April the 2nd of 2020, where Mary had gone, and said that Livy agreed to let them do a consent search.
Right.
Because it was, a consent search, police were limited in what they could touch and do or where they could go.
Correct.
But however, the police reportedly looked under the mattress, not realizing that Mary's body was inside that mattress, man.
See, I don't know. This one's hard for me to deal with. I mean, I'm sure that, I know that the mattress the way it was done. They did it to make it look good, but I don't know. They said it was taped back together. I mean, I don't know.
But if you had it taped and then you had a fitted sheet over it, you probably couldn't tell.
Well, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about jerking up the mattress. Because I had read or something somewhere where at one time they thought that she was under the box spring at this point. But if she was already been in the mattress, if it was already the call said she was in the mattress, then she was in the mattress.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, there was another witness told the police that Lavie was trying to pay someone $4,000 to remove something from the apartment. The witness also said another young woman, her name was America Deal, like America.
Yeah.
And her last name was Deal, D-I-E-H-L.
Right.
This America Deal was potentially involved. And this witness said Jimmy had confided in him that all of them were hanging out at Kelly's apartment when Kelly and Lavie began beating Mary in the head with a bottle.
God almighty.
While Mary lay in the bathtub bleeding.
Awful, man.
Yeah, now police, they obtained a search warrant. This time they found Mary's body in the mattress. And no one could have prepared from what they had just seen do. I mean, they couldn't believe it. Mary's body was so well concealed. I mean, it's unreal.
Yes.
They had her stuffed in this mattress, but her body was inside trash bags and wrapped in saran wrap and duct tape.
Yes, head to toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they'd put her inside the mattress, and then they had crammed clothing and some cardboard inside and around to make the mattress keep its shape.
Yep, and they even squirted in some pumpkin spice shampoo and some dish detergent.
Pumpkin spice.
Yeah, to keep down the scent of decomp.
Yes.
Yeah. Man.
Why had to become pumpkin spice? That's just
Yeah, but the detectives, they had to open the mattress to find Mary.
Yeah.
And detectives also found a bloody knife in the corner of the room and Mary's identification and debit card laying on the table.
Well, I wonder why they didn't find it the first time.
I don't know.
Which I know they were just looking, but not, tearing stuff up looking. But
they were just sort of scanning around the room, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
And also in the master bathroom, they found a serrated knife in the sink, and luminol detected blood on the bath mats and the shower curtain.
Mm-hmm.
And luminol on the bathtub and sink lit up like fireworks, man. It was all over the place.
It was all over the place.
Yeah. Now, on April the 5th of 2020, the police arrested Kelly and Lavie at the apartment.
Yeah.
Yep. And Kelly was reportedly passed out.
Yeah, they had to wake her up to arrest her like she was on something.
Yeah. And Jimmy Salerno was arrested at his residence at the Charlotte University area. I guess this is out near UNC Charlotte.
Yes.
Now, in June, the next month, the police arrested America Deal.
Yeah, she had fled to Colorado.
She did.
Got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, and I think she had actually got word of this, and she turned herself in while she was out there.
Yes.
And they ended up extraditing her back to...
Well, she turned herself in after she got a lawyer. She didn't talk to nothing. She got a lawyer first.
Yeah, and then turned herself in.
Yeah.
And then they extradited her back to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And each were questioned and tried to blame the other for what had happened.
You imagine that?
And while being questioned, the police noticed that Lavie, he had a cut on his arm.
Yeah. They said they noticed the cut, but they said they noticed that blood was running down his arm.
Yeah, and he told investigators that he had cut his arm while playing with a knife.
Yeah, so he had his arm wrapped up in saran wrap.
Yeah, but Lavie, he lawyered up when the detectives began asking him more questions about what had happened to Mary.
Right.
Yeah, getting more deeper into the conversation. And Kelly Lavie was questioned next. And she said she hung out with Mary until she left the apartment for a photo shoot.
Yeah, Mary was leaving to go do a photo shoot.
And when she was asked about what happened, she also requested a lawyer.
Yep.
Now, the third question was Jimmy Salerno. And he blamed Kelly, Lavie, and America.
The person, not the country.
Yeah, who had just begun dating Jimmy. Yeah, they'd met on Tinder. Jimmy and America, they met on Tinder.
Right, so they just barely, they just started and she just barely knew Kelly and Lavie.
Yeah. And when questioned, America explained that she had just met Jimmy on Tinder, like we talked about, and hung out with Kelly for a week before Mary's death. I guess she just knew her for a week.
Right. So we don't know if they was hanging out every day or if they just met once or twice or what her standing was here in the relationship. Right.
Yeah, that's why we're really pointing this out, because I don't think, we talked about this before, I don't think America knew this crowd that well.
Yeah, I don't think she knew what she was getting into. That's for damn
I don't think so either. And she said Jimmy called her and asked her to come over because a strange girl was at the apartment.
Right. Maybe referring to Mary.
Yes. And she said when she got to the apartment, Kelly, Lavi, and Jimmy were all doing drugs, including Xanax, Molly, which is ecstasy,
right,
cocaine, meth, and roxicodone.
Good God.
Which is a semi-synthetic opioid. And she said she did a little bit of cocaine and Molly.
Yeah, that's all she done.
And America told detectives that Kelly and Lavi proposed a threesome to Mary.
Right.
But Mary refused.
Yes.
Now, you and I have talked about this extensively.
Yes.
Mary, she was 20 years old, but had the mindset of a 14 or 15-year-old.
Correct.
And I just don't think she was mentally able to...
She didn't want to be there.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, it's like I said, but if you just looked at her, she looked like a normal 20-year-old girl.
She did. But
so it's like the invisible thing, but so...
Looking at her, you couldn't tell she had a disability.
Right.
But she was like a 14 or 15-year-old.
Yeah.
In her mind.
So this lobbying them, all they're doing is looking at her and they're thinking they're going to do all this, and she's not playing, not want to play the game.
Mm-mm.
I don't blame her.
Yep. So, but Mary refused this threesome.
Yeah, she didn't want no part of that.
Yeah. Then they asked America, and she claimed she refused too and went to bed.
Yeah.
And America claims she woke up about 7 a.m. the next morning to take her mom to work and return to the apartment.
But I don't know about that either.
I don't either.
I mean, I was kind of on the America side here a minute because I'm thinking, well, maybe she just met this guy, and she didn't know what she's getting into here, but she blatantly just lied when she said she's doing cocaine and ecstasy and then goes to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, she might have went to bed, but I don't know.
Yeah. And when she returned to Kelly's apartment, Jimmy ushered her into the bedroom and opened the door to the bathroom, which was covered with blood. And
right. She had to go take her mother to work, but Jimmy also came over there because this girl had to leave her mother the car. So they got back. She got in the car with Jimmy, and then they went back to the apartment.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now when they get back.
Yeah, the apartment was covered in blood. The bathroom was covered in blood.
Yes.
And she was horrified to see Mary in the bathtub.
Yes.
Yeah. And I kind of believe that.
Right. Yeah. Oh hell, who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
Well, except for the people who did it. I mean, go ahead.
So Lavi, he gave Jimmy and America some money and told them to go to the store for some cleaning supplies and bleach. And when they got back, America said Kelly held up a knife to her neck and forced her to wrap up Mary's body in saran wrap and clean up the scene.
Man.
And she noted that Lavi and Jimmy laughed and talked about the terrible things they had done to Mary.
Mm-hmm.
After they sexually assaulted Mary, America said they let her bleed out from a cut to the neck and made her watch Lavi and Kelly have sex. Man. This is the most gruesome case.
But, man, this is some damn trash people right here.
Yeah, they're shit. But the one consistent thing in all their accounts was that Kelly was the ringleader and had perpetuated the violent stabbing. And according to America, Kelly had gone primal and did not stop stabbing Mary and had accidentally cut Lavi's arm with the knife.
Well, when we say stabbing and this, it was 133 times.
That's what they could count.
Now, that was... some were smaller, superficial cuts, some were deeper, some were stabs, but 133 times at least.
Yeah.
So they ain't just, cut her in the neck and let her bleed out.
A knife had penetrated her body 133 times.
And, I might be getting ahead of myself, and no wound intersected an organ, a major organ, or a major artery. So this is they beat her in the head with the bottle and all this stuff, and then, they shed bruises all over. You see the autopsy report. All over, and all these stab and cut wounds that are slow bleeders.
Yeah.
So it ain't like she's dying quick. They stuck her in the bathtub and then had made her watch them have sex in front of her while she's bleeding out slowly in the bathtub.
God dang, dude. This girl...
her whole head was a bruise. The whole hair part, not necessarily. Her face was beat up too, but it was just from all the blows. It's just pathetic.
She died a horrific death.
Yes, very much so.
A torturous death.
Very much so.
Man.
And I might have got ahead of ourselves, but
that's okay.
I just can't hold it back no more. It's pissing me off, man.
But the lingering question is why, despite the information obtained in the interviews of these 4 perpetrators, police were no closer to an answer, Dale. Police charged Kelly, Lavi, and Jimmy with kidnapping, murder, and concealing a death. And America was charged as an accessory after the fact and concealing a death.
Right. Which is probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they should have done. You know, and they said the girl had run to work at Colorado, right?
Yes, she did.
But that's what, he's like, why didn't she just go to the cops? They just told her that, you know, if you don't clean this up and do all this, we're going to do the same thing to you. So she probably just, as soon as she got away, she went away.
Yeah.
Getting as far away from these people as I can.
She got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. So, not calling the police right away was probably an error, but still, she was probably thinking more about survival skills kicking in. I got to get away from these people.
But according to Mary's family, Kelly and Lavi bought Mary sushi in the hours preceding her murder.
Right.
They posted a video of the 3 of them together, you know, to make it seem like Mary was okay, you know, like when we talked about in the lobby.
Oh, yeah.
Just hanging out with friends.
Just peachy.
Yeah. And like I said, Lavi posted a video of them having fun on his Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
But her family believes he did that to make it seem Mary was okay and just hanging out with friends.
I agree.
Yep. And police believe that Kelly, Lavi, and Jimmy brutally attacked Mary, stabbing her more than 133 times, like you said.
You know, you got to remember, this girl's small. She ain't weigh 100 pounds.
Yeah, like 5'4", 100 pounds, soaking wet. Yeah. Now, police, they found some text messages between Lavi and Kelly while Mary was there. The texts, they conveyed that Lavi began drugging Mary after they had sushi.
Right.
He used Xanax and Molly. In one text from Lavi to Kelly, he said, "Another bar down."
And that's talking about the Xanaxes.
Yeah.
You know, because they come in that bar where you like break them into 4 pieces or whatever.
Yeah.
So another bar would say to me, they've already give her 1.
That's right.
She ain't gonna know nothing. She's a little bitty. Taking this, them things are strong.
Yeah, she's probably a lightweight. But during this time, Lavi also sent texts to Jimmy, relaying the information what he was doing. Mary was the only person who didn't know what was happening.
Right.
And you know, I can't imagine how scared she was, man.
I hope she was passed out.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I mean, God.
But there was a Dr. J. Michael Sullivan. He conducted the autopsy, and it contains some unsettling and graphic details, man. In this report, it said Mary died of multiple cutting wounds and stab wounds of the neck, torso, head, and extremities.
Yeah.
She suffered 133 slice wounds, none deep enough to kill Mary, but done to torture her. They were also
These people, man.
Yeah, they were also blunt trauma injuries along with the multiple facial contusions.
God damn.
And Mary had also been violently sexually assaulted. And the DNA of 2 male individuals was found on her body.
Well, there's only 2 in the room.
2 males there, Lavi and Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And due to contamination and degradation, when the killers tried to clean up after the murder, the DNA was inconclusive.
Right, but they could tell it's 2 males.
Yeah, and it was reported that Kelly, Lavi, and Jimmy committed the murder and left Mary bleeding out in the bathtub.
God damn. Trash.
They wrapped Mary's entire body in saran wrap and black garbage bags with silver duct tape covering most of her body in like an overlapping fashion.
Yeah, mummy.
Yeah, and this Dr. Sullivan found a black shirt and socks wrapped around her neck and a red T-shirt around her ankles. And it is believed these items were placed on those locations of the body to soak up blood.
God,
and also, get this too, Dale. Mary had a chain collar on her neck attached to a leash when she was found. And her body was identified using dental comparison.
God almighty.
Yeah. Man. This is a horrific case, man.
It is.
And warrants reflect that Mary was saturated with Cascade dish detergent and pumpkin spice shower gel to cover the smell of her body, like we talked about.
Yeah, leave it to this killer girl to have pumpkin spice shower gel on here.
And after wrapping her up, they hid the body inside a mattress. And analysis concluded it was America's fingertips that matched
fingerprints.
Fingerprints that matched the inside of the trash bags used to conceal Mary's body.
Right, so she's definitely you can't get out of saying she was there. But,
yes, she was there.
But she also had told them ahead of time that she had to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And during a bond hearing for America, her attorneys argued that she should be released, claiming that America was forced to help and Kelly was in charge.
Right.
And according to America, Kelly was the ringleader and gave orders to everyone during this cleanup. And against the family's wishes, the prosecutors, they struck a deal. They struck a plea deal with Kelly.
With Kelly?
Yeah. And she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, kidnapping, and concealment of a body. And get this deal, she was sentenced to just 25 to 30 years in prison.
Which 25 to 30 years is a lot, depending on what you've done, but not for this.
Yeah. Yes, that's second-degree murder, kidnapping, and concealment of a body. That should be...
To me, this is still her going, look what my money did for me.
Yeah.
I mean, God dang.
Now, Mary's Aunt Kara, we talked about her. She has struggled with the death of Mary. She had told the Charlotte news station WCNC, she said, "I think that they are evil. I think that they are what evil looks like. They tortured her. They stabbed her over 100 times, and they hid her body in a mattress. To know this happened to Mary, who I know was just excited to hang out with some friends, and I can't imagine when they started to turn on her, the fear and confusion she was feeling, and then to think what she went through. It's so horrible. So horrible." Yeah. I got no words for this, man.
Same way, man. I'm just there shaking my head.
Yeah.
Fuming.
And Kara, the aunt, says the most challenging thing is having to think about how they torture Mary. And they can't take the pain away that Mary must have experienced. I mean, it's horrific. It's not something you forget.
No, never.
But Mary, grandmother Mia, she found Kelly's plea deal hard to accept, man.
And you can't tell me this is just something that happened. I mean, who plans to hide somebody in a damn mattress? Yeah,
it had to be planned out, man.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing when they lured her over there.
Yeah, they did. But the other three, Kelly's in prison, but the other three, they have never been brought to justice.
No.
Lavi, he is out on bond, waiting something. He's just out living his life. And no ankle monitor, nothing.
Oh, I didn't know he was out.
Yeah, Lavi's out. Jimmy Salerno is out.
Yes.
And America is out.
Yeah, I knew them two were out.
Yeah, America is living with her family down in Clover, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, when they let her out, part of her deal was she couldn't leave the county. Hell, she left the whole state, which it ain't, that far. But
across state line.
Across state line, yeah, still. But they didn't do much about that.
Yeah, she's in South Carolina.
Yeah, no monitors, no nothing.
Nothing.
Just doing whatever.
Yeah, living life.
Yeah, they're saying, well, you should let America out. Maybe she wanted to go to school and get a job. Well, hell, maybe Mary wanted to go to school and get a job.
Yeah.
They care about that. Especially that detective didn't get off his ass.
Yeah. This is such a sad case, and the backlog for court hearings and court cases is really backed up.
Yeah, I seen somewhere where they had like over 350-something murder trials to do since COVID. Since they're backed up that far, and that's what they blame it on anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot goes on down there, I guess, but something like this, I think you could prioritize, because this is way.
It's brutal, man.
Yeah.
And Mary's family, but Mary's grandmother Mia, this lady is a saint, dude. I mean, she has done all kinds of stuff. They have set up a nonprofit organization called Mary's Voice.
Yeah.
To promote awareness of Mary's case, and it highlights flaws in the death penalty.
You know what pissed me off?
What's
it
that?
Just reminds me when you say this. She had worked so hard to get her voice right, and this is why this is named this.
Mary's Voice.
And like they think they've silenced her or whatever. But and I was telling my daughter earlier while I was telling her about this case, and I said, what kills me is they said she couldn't scream or say, or yell loud because of her condition.
Yeah.
So the whole time they're doing this, she couldn't even scream for help if she was, awake or whatever. I'll keep hoping that she was passed out. I don't know, but she couldn't even help herself if she I don't know. It just I'm lost.
I don't know, man.
Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut on top of there, but that just bothers me.
Yeah.
Anyway, they come up with Mary's Voice to promote awareness in Mary's case and highlight flaws in the death penalty system. And a lot of other things, and then help actually for a national alert for missing persons with disabilities, because at this point, if something happens to someone with a disability, they kind of get lumped into a silver alert, which is not really fair. And she said, I don't really think, or I don't really know that, an alert would have helped her, but it might help someone else.
Yeah.
Because right now they just get lumped in with like a senior who was missing.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But they do have a Justice for Mary website, and it is full of stuff. And you need to go check it out. We'll put a link to it in our socials and on our show notes and everything. But it's full of stuff.
Mary's Voice Facebook page.
Yeah, a lot of followers on there. But it's just it's a sad story. And
sad don't even start.
But Kelly Library, she can get out of prison.
She'd be what, 50 something probably. 50.
Yeah.
I mean that's a long time, but it ain't life. I mean,
No.
They didn't give Mary. Almighty.
Yeah.
You're about to make me say bad words.
Yeah. She's living rent free, but guess what?
And these people are right down the road.
Yeah. She's living rent free in prison.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It ain't costing her nothing. Somebody's footing the bill just like it's always been.
Yeah, their home she grew up in was $1 million home. And she just had everything given to her on a silver crusted platter, like she said.
And nothing was good enough.
Yeah.
And she had even made the point one time that Mary was the only person that she knew that didn't want nothing from her.
She didn't want anything from her.
All she wanted was her friendship. And I think this girl couldn't stand that because she didn't understand it. Everybody's probably, every person this girl has ever met probably wanted something. Used her for something, and that's all she knows.
Yeah.
Because she's all about the money and the power. And I'm better than you. Yes, I'm better than you because look at my bank account. This is me. Ha ha. You ain't nothing. I think even in her high school annual, she said a little thing where you write something in there was that in 10 years I'll be richer than any of you is what she said in her annual.
Yeah, but it didn't say prison either, though, did it?
No, I think she left that part.
Yeah, and like I said, Mary, all she was wanting friendship.
Yeah, that's it. She just wanted to be somebody's friend.
Yeah, she didn't want her money. She
didn't give a hoot about that.
Mm-mm.
She was just happy she could be.
Mary was a beautiful girl, man. I can't say it enough, man. She could have been a model.
Right. I've even seen people said, with her distinct features, they kind of remind her of like a mermaid or maybe a fairy,
Yeah.
Looking, and I can see that. But she's just a beautiful creature.
And like you said, this is just right down the road.
Yeah.
This is an hour away from us. It happened.
Yeah, and they're still hanging out.
Yeah.
Who knows when the trial's going to be? It could be years.
Living their life, man, that Mary didn't get. Yeah, and this Detective Jonathan Gaskin. Yeah.
Like you said, not a fan.
Nope, not a fan.
I mean, we're a big fan of the blue, but not a big fan of all the blue.
But we're going to keep following this case and see what happens to these other
because it's still ongoing, because it's still open. I mean, these people hadn't been to trial or nothing.
So we're going to keep following it. Anything happens, we'll report it and maybe do an update later on.
Do a follow-up, yeah.
And we're going to try to see if we can get one of Mary's family members on and talk to them. And
see where things are and what they know, what's going on.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to keep this one going because we can be Mary's voice.
That's it. All right, buddy. That is the murder of Mary Collins.
Okay, that was rough.
We're going to get out here, man.
All right, let's roll.
We want everyone to be safe. Just please be careful and kind to each other and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is
the Crack House Chronicles.